Hello and welcome back to Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. In the last episode, we started the third of the class trials. Now we're just here to simply see what can progress in this endeavor. I don't truly remember what the last thing was mentioned. Let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of the body, of his body, which would be Hifumi's
then
body.
It should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
There has to be proof that shows Hifumi was still alive. I have to find it and show it to everyone. Time to make the argument. Hifumi's glasses. Yes. But what exactly am I contradicting?
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
His body may
The
have.
next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body
Here it comes.
after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
That's the one. Okay.
Then, was he really still alive?
Of course not. It is impossible. This is ridiculous.
The more and more I listen to some of these voice actors and actresses, I just learn, like, just how much I can appreciate, like, their range and being able to deliver certain lines. When Hifumi's body was found in the nurse's office, and when it was found again in the repository, there's definitely some sort of conflict there.
Well, here's
Which
one
I'm
for
going
the
to
first
skip
time we
a
found
bunch,
Hifumi.
because I'm pretty sure it was the middle one.
It was in.
But when you compare his body
Right
before
here, or
being
technically the
moved
next,
and
the
his
second
body
one, because
other
it
than
appeared.
the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
You're wrong!
No, it's wrong. In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood.
Honestly, Makoto is the only person that would have known this. I mean, technically, anyone who checked in on the body as well, but like he's the only person that took notice of this. The only other person would have been Kyoko to take notice of tiny little details like this, and she was elsewhere this entire time.
But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
The evidence I found in the trash can in the nurse's office was... Where is it? The glasses cleaning cloth.
I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot.
Did he say gloth?
One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And
Oh,
whose
sorry.
digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles from Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I
Good
highly
memory.
doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
Hifumi, Toko, and Byakuya? Only those three?
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
Then it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office.
He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
No, it was actual blood.
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere! But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done! God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
The one who moved Taka's body was Hifumi.
I got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked?
Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside.
Yep.
Which means when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Which
Absolutely.
parts?
The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
Okay, I wasn't entirely sure which one she was pointing at, whether it was like the washed off mallet or whatever. Or the fact that it was artistic involvement. Wait, but which one am I gonna be presenting? The thing that he was holding on to, or this? Which one do I present? The thing that Hifumi stole from Taka. Could it be? Probably this one.
I got it!
Okay. Yep. And I'm back up to full health.
The note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now.
Yeah, why were it all
Take
the?
a look at what the note says.
Why was it all the girls that all just like had something to mention about that? I found a hole maybe we can use to escape. Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the equipment room at 6 a.m. Is Hiro gonna mention anything how that's almost the same as his?
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go.
Not exactly.
Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said,
1 a.m.
Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
Also, were the places different? I wasn't really paying attention out for that. The time just...
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could only have been...
Taka. Hifumi's pants.
That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection!
Okay.
I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
What?
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Man, you guys are a lot quicker at that than me, because I don't understand that some of these are nicknames.
Ugh, yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Man, Genocide Jack is seriously scary. But still. Can't let her get to me. And my argument involves... Okay, Hifumi's glasses, clean cloth, and a broken wristwatch. Maybe I scanned something.
But he had the note, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the person it was intended for must have been Happy.
But remember what the note said.
Color of television.
What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
Mm-hmm.
The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
God damn it. I gotta scan that one, but Jesus, that one's hard to grasp onto. With that fucker in the way. The time on the note said 6 a.m. What happened at 6 a.m.? What happened at 6 a.m.? 6 a.m. was Taka's. But what exactly did she say? Did she say it was meant for Taka or wasn't meant for Taka? That's what I need to clear up.
Happy had the note, right?
Yeah, this isn't
And
anything.
the person it was intended for must have been Happy.
Oh, no.
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
Oh, the broken wristwatch and using it on this.
Matter. The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
God, fuck you. You are wrong. The broken wristwatch was at 6 a.m. Just after 6 a.m.
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Oh, yeah, it did say a different room.
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note.
Mm-hmm.
I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that. No further objections.
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me.
I thought he was seriously going to go with the nickname that Jill had mentioned. I was about to say TikTok, Jesus Christ.
The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Stuffed down his pants, no less.
He was trying to hide it.
Most likely, Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
Proof that Hifumi stole the note from Taka. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Kiyotaka's scrap of paper. Yes.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it!
Yep.
It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
I was really hoping that they would put it together like this, but I didn't know if they would. Honestly, they didn't really need to, but works out.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip,
Quite literally death grip.
leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
You did, actually,
That
Sakura.
means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Oddly enough, if he hadn't done that, maybe he wouldn't have been found out.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive.
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead.
When we first found him, there's no guarantee. I'm still banking on
The
it.
second body discovery announcement proves that.
Yeah, I guess.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Walrus.
Who are you calling a walrus?
Yeah, and why that?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi,
Okay.
then put the hammer back where they found it.
So he killed himself. He just... Punk.
But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Yeah, I know. In fact, I was kind of not banking on him acting out that way.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue.
I do.
So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
I don't even think any of them.
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then...
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
A weapon that was actually used to kill Hifumi. The whole picture surrounding this case won't become clear until we figure that out. Somehow I have to find the truth. Spotless hammer. Okay, yeah. I didn't know if I couldn't remember if there was an actual piece of evidence.
What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3?
No.
Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Sorry, no.
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
I wonder if you could actually check
One
that.
thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers!
That's the contradiction.
That's about it.
Okay. I was wondering where the contradiction was, because you can't just click on something and just be like, well, there's this piece of evidence. It has to be something that contradicts. There has to be a contradiction. Hifumi was killed in the repository, right? So if the weapons used to kill both of them were actually similar... Ooh.
What was used? Was it just maybe Justice?
Well, there's one. How was the culprit? How did nobody...
Sounds like a Justice. Check out murdergear.com/hammer.
Well, one thing seems pretty clear.
Next one.
The murder weapon had to be one of the...
Sorry.
What's wrong?
You helped
The
me
murder
understand it a
weapon
bit more.
wasn't a Justice Hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Not exactly.
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi.
They're both technically the same, but different at the same time.
Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used the hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him.
Oh, you bitch, shut up.
The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
We did talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to work together. Excuse me. At least that's what we thought at first, but... Another one of these. Damn, there's a lot this time around, I think. I don't know if there's more. Spotless hammer, that's not gonna help. I'm gonna have to copy something.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That's probably what I have to contradict.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Could you really say there's no chance two people work together on this?
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one, only the one who actually, assuming the rule holds true, it is simply...
That is how the rule was explained.
But that only really applies if there's one murder.
Just
right?
copy
In
this
case,
to get rid of
however,
the murder.
There were two murders.
Okay. Yep. Skippity-doo-dah, skippity-yay.
Actually, assuming the rule holds true.
No, it's wrong.
Just because there's two people dead doesn't mean that there's not two murderers.
Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
I mean, not necessarily, but... I mean, we have prime example number 1. Genocide Jack, Jill, is a serial killer.
What do you mean?
If there's only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
But only one Blackened, which was mentioned way after, gets to graduate. But why?
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in the scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful! How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
The effort made to convince us the two murders were the same. That was the main characteristic this time. Kyoko must have noticed that fact from the very beginning. Which is why she said not to look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing. Although, when you think about it, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at this.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved, but then who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
I know.
That's problem numero uno right now.
The true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions, and in the end, murdered him. Which I'm still unsure as to how she would have been in there, because the door would have been locked, but if she walked out when the door was locked before, wouldn't Hina and Sakura have seen her walk out? That's what I'm still trying to figure out. Like, the timing of... The timing's just so weird. In the debates up until now, the way the case is unfolded, when you consider all that, there's really only one person who seems to fit. Yep. Where is she? Celeste.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
So I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that brain-fat, lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot! Pardon-moi.
Pardon-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What is it? What it is that only Hifumi and Celeste had in common? The screaming, the paper hidden in Hifumi's pants, encountering the suspicious individual. Yes, it was only those two. I mean, they were also... no. Hina also screamed when she found... Or, I don't know. They were the only two to ever see the suspicious individual,
I got it!
including the shadow.
The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush. The adults are talking now.
You bitch!
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
I saw a shadow. Something moving around at the top of the stairs to direct us away.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. I saw him. A strange costumed man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. I was blocking the stairs, so he headed further down into the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Yeah! Huh? What was that? How many times are we gonna have to fucking read this shit? That came from downstairs. It must have been... Hifumi! He's in the nurse's office! This is bad. Come on, we have to go back!
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot that she was the one that even said to split up in threes. But she just got lucky in that part. Then why don't we split into 2 groups? I'll lead the hunting party. That seems much more interesting. Very well. Then Makoto and Hina you come with me to the nurse's office. I will leave the capture of the suspicious individual to Toko, Byakuya, and Sakura.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that piercing cry of yours early on.
It was fake. It's not an actual reaction.
That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, duh.
It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor. Everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing.
Which one?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead.
I certainly was not expecting this. Oh, I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
That is true, but I mean, there can only be one, like... I mean, unless you check the body, there can only be one way to find out.
I don't believe it. Everything, the whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kind of sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait, then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but...
Oh, shit.
Looking back, I can say that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
Yep.
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
Okay, it's gonna play it. They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. We're all going to die in here. Die here, excuse me. We're going to die, just like those guys died. Those guys. She knew that there were multiple, but she would have only known about one.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
That's completely fine, Sakura, because when I first read it, I didn't catch it either.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
And she stays silent. Byakuya said that Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. But what is he alluding to? Man, Byakuya is actually one smart cookie. Okay, I gotta copy one thing.
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
That was the last line. Aw, bitch! When she said that, she should only have known about Hifumi's death. With that in mind, what's so strange about what she said?
They must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to die. We are going to die. Just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to... What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
I've mentioned this before, and it can only contradict, but don't expect me to do the work for you. Figure out for yourself why her comment doesn't make sense. I'm not entirely sure which thing would contradict. I need to think about it one more time. There must be a contradiction in there somewhere. Okay, what thing am I actually copying?
They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here.
We are going to die.
And that is...
And that's all it takes. What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Maybe this is what I have to...
All I said, they must really enjoying the sight of us. They must be positively... We are all going to die here. We are going to die. Just like...
No, that's wrong.
Sometimes this game just fucking sucks. And yet I love it.
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died.
It's not really a contradiction, it's just like, hey, it's odd that you said that, you stupid bitch.
When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
I mean, I use guys pretty gender neutrally. The same thing with dude. And bitch. I use bitch a lot for guys as well.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Yeah, you said it matter-of-factly before.
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took?
It's faked. As simple as that.
How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
Which I'm still trying to figure out how, like, Hiro's even in the suit. Like, this is a long case.
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer.
So you can only click it.
In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist? Simple.
Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Puppeteering, you gothic Lolita.
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Please just shut up. Other explanations? It's being puppeteered. Puppeted. I think it's puppeted. If it wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away, the only other possibility is had been drinking. Hifumi and the suspect are dancing. Hifumi is dragging the suspect away. None of these work right. I'm gonna take some major damage on this. Oh wait, no, he's on his back. Oh, okay.
I got it!
Okay.
It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit.
And that would also explain why Hifumi is all drenched in sweat.
We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing
We're gonna see her go crazy.
is utterly impossible.
What makes you say that?
Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Oh, I have to
Is it?
completely
I
fight
don't
back.
think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Celeste thinks she can prove that there's no way Hifumi was dragging the suspect away. But is that really possible? Oh, it's another one of these. Okay. Robo Justice costume, Yasuhiro's message, Robo Justice blueprints. Okay. Which one?
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all!
No way!
I just heard it, and I was just letting that finish. They literally can only stand up straight. If I remember right, Hina said... She said that you couldn't bend at the waist. Yep.
You dressed me up in that suit, then you just draped it. You tried to make
I don't know which one it is.
As you can see in
This
the
one?
picture, the suspect, if the person inside
Oh,
the
next
suit
one.
was unconscious,
I have to block something
there's
in.
no way they could stand up straight like that.
Wait, you're wrong!
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong! I gotta remember that just so I can do it at the same time as Makoto sometime.
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. Because that Robo Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
You totally can't bend it. There is so much repeating in this one. Why? You totally can't bend at the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Ooh, so that's your art. I like it.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
I wonder what the gambler is gonna be like for her death.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
The ultimate gambler's going crazy.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate? Celeste?
There's someone who's never lost.
Clearly! You want to cram me into your little guilty box? Well, there's one little problem. Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Another red heron, or whatever the fuck it's called. Hey, Hifumi! Who was it? Who attacked you? Who tried to kill you?
Who killed me? That's right. I remember her name. Yasuhiro.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not?
Unless he was coerced.
He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's actually Taro!
Huh?
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
Thank you, Sakura, for being the voice of reason and the fist of fury.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What? hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Damn. Celeste's voice actress is really good.
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
He said people's last names. He said for serious a lot. He gave everyone nicknames. No. It had to have been last names. Did he? Mr. Naegi. Yep. Mm-hmm.
My God!
Yeah, you're right.
That's
Damn.
right. Our last names. He called us all by our last names.
I think it's funny how I had to go into character to re-remember.
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example.
Okay, I'm not alone.
So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name. Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
Wow. That connection. Jesus criminy.
What did you just say?
Is her last name really Yasuhiro?
To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit!
Damn.
Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you?
I think the accent's gone a little bit, but it's just because she has to be so forceful.
Well, do I?
Damn, I love this art.
What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up!
There's the accent again.
Is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
I did make the joke about her being Ludenberged. Celeste still won't give up, so then I have to do something to make her accept it. Uh-oh. What am I doing? Oh god, more of these. E-handbook, spotless hammer, Yasuhiro's message.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
how many times do I have to tell you? My name is Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
What the hell? Why is that upside down?
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
Can I see your
I'm
e-handbook?
not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me,
I know.
that's the only truth there is! Moron!
I remember, there's something here that shows its owner's real name. I'm sure Kyoko mentioned something like that at some point. It may not be related to the case, but it might come in handy anyway. Yeah, it wasn't important to the case, but it's important now.
It would have to be you, Celeste.
How many times? Celestia Ludenberg!
How long do you plan?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict
Bitch!
the only truth there is!
Of course.
Hifumi was... He wanted us to know the killer...
It's a gamble of whether or not they're gonna be there or not, because there are sometimes they're in the way and sometimes they're just not at all.
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me...
Yeah. Silence,
That's
wench.
it. The handbook.
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
This handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it! When you start it up, it will display your name. Always make sure to have the right one! Now, this is not just your everyday notebook. It has so many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything.
But if she lends it out to us to look at it, does not, I don't know.
That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
Turn it on.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because... Until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes.
Okay. I think this might be where I want to call it. Heaven forbid this goes into the next thing. So I'm just gonna save it here because I actually have to... I know that this is gonna take me up to a while, and I don't want it to go too far. So the final save slot is being decorated before the comic book. Hopefully you're looking forward to me going through every event that's gone on, and this one might take me a while, so it's probably a good thing that I'm breaking it up here. Seeing as how I only have 10 minutes left in this recording, I'm gonna cut it a little bit short, and look forward to building a comic book that might take me hours to complete. Oh well. Well, that's where I gotta leave it here. Thank you so much for coming out, and leave you with one final message. In that being, have a nice day.